What is up, everybody? We have reached the half century mark of the Big Five Pod, episode number 50. Hope I can't believe it. I mean, this is a real accomplishment for us. So we're gonna clap for ourselves right now. Good job. Good job. Proud of you. Proud of me. Proud of us. Um, I'm of course your co-host Kyle Morello. Next to me, Jake Copestick, my other co-host, the one and only Cope, number 50. How we feeling?
Yeah, we're feeling good. I can't believe it went this long. Feels like it's been forever. I mean,
I
holy
know.
smokes. We're almost at I mean, the college season will be here before you know it, which means we'll start our second season. And it's wow. Didn't think we'd make it this far. But people are still tolerating us, I guess. You haven't got sick of me, which is nice.
You haven't
So
gotten sick of me.
yeah.
That's
Would so yeah, I think we got a good little thing going here.
yeah.
We'll stick around for another year.
How
By
about it?
popular demand, we will stick
Yeah.
around for another year. So yes, very very cool, doing well. We're in the middle of the draft right now. Cam Whitmore sliding a little bit, having his Bo Callahan moment,
Yes.
sliding a little bit. Derek Lively just went off the board to the Mavericks, which I figured would happen. But still waiting for Cam Whitmore to turn up here. So if he gets picked, we will notify you. I thought by the time we recorded this, he would have already been picked.
Yes.
Not true though. So we will alert you when that happens. Which is hopefully soon.
Yes. You and I both. I mean, I thought he was going to go top 10. He has not done that. So we'll see. I don't know. Draft's unfolding right now though. So we'll give you little updates. Maybe we'll go over a little bit at the end here, once more information comes in on picks and whatnot and trades, especially too. Um, but we got a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Some scheduling news. One of the more, I guess, popular non-conference tournaments in this area a year ago is making its second straight appearance, second annual Cathedral College Basketball. Cathedral of College Basketball Classic is what it's officially called. Shorter will be the Cathedral Classic, obviously hosted at Penn, at what is known as the Cathedral of College Basketball in the Palestra. So the teams this year will be, of course, Penn, along with Monmouth, Belmont, and Lafayette. Last year it was Hartford, Delaware, and Colgate. So some similar-ish schools coming in here this year. Definitely still a good field. Um, Penn was at Lafayette last year for this, winning 74-68 in overtime. Apparently they've never played Belmont, which is pretty cool. Shout out to you for pulling that fact, of course. But yeah, it's gonna go over in the around Thanksgiving, a little bit after. Friday, November 24th, Saturday, November 25th, and Sunday the 26th. So Cope, what do you think about this field? And gonna be around Thanksgiving. Obviously, we love Feast Week, so this is gonna be exciting.
Yeah, it actually is a nice little field here. So you have a different CAA team in Monmouth, a different Patriot League team in Lafayette, of course, Colgate being there last year. And they get Belmont, who is in the OVC now, I want to say.
Yeah.
They switched. They're in one of the valleys, but they did switch conferences last year, which you had to find a replacement for Hartford because, of course, they're no longer Division One. But I think it's a nice little field here. Hopefully, there's more people that attend. I get it. It's Thanksgiving. People got to drive. I completely understand. I was in there last year. I was like, it's kind of a ghost town a little bit. Penn Colgate, though, barn burner, great game. Jordan Dingle, Slackard almost had 60 points combined. It was awesome. Slackard at 33 in that game. It was really, really good game. But yeah, it's a night. I'm glad they're doing this to try and bring some, bring more people to the Palestra. A cool little tournament like this. Like people are doing MPEs. You having Drexel have their own, having Penn have theirs during Feast Week. So yeah, pretty cool. We'll have to get to a game. Hopefully, Belmont is better. They're not the same team that unfortunately ended Fran Dunphy's run at Temple. They're not the same as they were last year either, as they're going to lose Ben Shepard, who's getting drafted tonight. So they'll look different. Monmouth was bad last year. King Rice is. I mean, they moved to the CAA. They lost Walker Miller, who played at UNC, and I believe is Wes Miller's brother, which is like weird that you one's a coach and one was like still playing
Yeah.
college hoops. They lost Shavar Reynolds from Seton Hall, and they lost George Pappas, three of the best players. So they lost a lot of their production, weren't nearly as good, and they jumped to the CAA. So hopefully Monmouth is better. And then hey, Lafayette, they got a new head coach who we'll talk about in a little bit. We're about to talk about them with Drexel. Mike McGarvey, he is a local guy. He's from Lower Gwinnett. He went to Penn Charter, played at Ursinus. Now he's the head coach of Lafayette. They actually went on. They weren't great last year, as you said. Penn beat them in overtime. But they made a run. They went to the Patriot League championship game and lost to Colgate. So maybe they
Yeah.
could recapture some of that magic. I know they're bringing back TJ Berger amongst some other guys. So maybe Lafayette's a really good opponent here for Penn.
Yeah, absolutely. To clarify on Belmont, they're in the Missouri Valley Conference. I looked it up while
Okay.
you were
They
talking.
were in one of the valleys.
Yes,
They
you were correct.
moved though. They moved from one
Yeah,
valley to another. I knew that.
they were in the OBC. They are now in the MVC. Um, they were not good last year though, so hopefully they'll be a lot better this year. It's a decent field, you know. I mean, you can't complain. Obviously, you're not going to get like the best of the best schools coming to this. There's plenty of other tournaments going on in Feast Week, all over the country, all quality of teams. But this is a nice field. You definitely can't complain about this. So really excited to have this happen. Obviously, it's we got about 5 more months until this takes place, but definitely something exciting to look forward to. Speaking of non-conference schedules, we had a game like this last year, and we're having the return of a home and home. Temple is playing VCU. They will be going to VCU this coming year. Last year, they're at the Lee Core Center. Temple, of course, won 83-73 in that one. Interesting note for this one, obviously, two different head coaches now than we had last year. Last year, we had Aaron McKee, and why am I blanking on his name right now? Help me out.
Mike Rhodes.
Mike Rhodes. Thank you. Jesus Christ. This year, obviously, we have Ryan Odom, we have Adam Fisher. So definitely two different head coaches, two different styles, but this should still be an exciting one. Temple leads the series in this 2-1. So far, this is our fourth meeting. But Cope, what do you expect from this game? I know it's obviously, months and months away, but these are two teams that are, in the past few years or so, pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, I like VCU. We know about their home court advantage and everything, how hard it is to play there. But Ryan Odom's a help coach, and I've said this a bunch of times on here, on Twitter, other places. Behind Rick Pitino, I would go out on a limb here and say that this is probably my second favorite hire of the entire offseason. I know I said that on this show. Big Ryan Odom fan. Different VCU. You're going to see an offensive minded team rather than a defensive minded team. Brought in a lot of really good transfers. Brought in Max Scholga from and Sean Bairstow from Utah State that followed him across the country. Brings in Jason Nelson from Richmond, kind of some dirty business there with a Richmond guy going like 5-10 minutes away in the same city to a school, a rival school in the same conference. Brings in a monstrous center in Roosevelt Wheeler from Louisville. Kwani they just got from California. They're going to be good next year. They're going to have a nice team. And I think they're actually going to push to be one of the best in the Atlantic 10. I think they're top 3, top 4 right now, for sure, even with Mike Rhodes and a bunch of guys leaving. So I think VCU will take this game, but it's a good game for Temple to go on the road, play in a tough environment, a really good head coach, a good offense, a good roster, even though it's Ryan Odom's first year. It's going to be a good game, a good test for them. But even though we're months out, I'm very high on Ryan Odom, very high on VCU going into next year. So if you put a gun to my head, I would take VCU in this game.
And listen, nobody's doing that right now. We are months away from this game happening. And even when that game happens, hopefully nobody's doing anything like that. But as we've talked about, it is a tough place to play at the Siegel Center. It is not easy. As we especially talked about with St. Joe's and LaSalle. It's gonna be tough. And Ryan Odom, I know he's one of your favorite hires. Me, he's up there too. It's definitely gonna be a really, really good game. So we'll see what happens further down the line. Obviously, months away. We are in the summer now. There's no games being played, but it's definitely gonna be an exciting one when the time comes. Another one that's getting replayed from last year, though at a different location. Lafayette is hosting Drexel this year. It's interesting. Drexel and Lafayette. It's Drexel's 12th most played opponent. They've played 32 times, and Drexel is 22-10 against them, including last year. Drexel beat Lafayette 64-56 at the DAC. So this should be a fun one. I mean, they played a bunch. Obviously, Drexel's dominated the series, but what do you make of this game and this home and home here?
Yes, I mean, this is something they should do pretty much every year, in my opinion. Kind of local opponents, leagues that are similar with the CAA and the Patriot League in terms of distance, maybe a rivalry. I think this is something that they should do every single year. They should play each other every single year. You mentioned that this is a 12th most played opponent. They should definitely keep this going. I already brought up Mike McGarvey, but I'll do it again. Pretty cool that he's literally from our area, Penn Charter guy, or Sinus guy too, meaning Collegeville, right down the road from us still. He replaces Mike Jordan, who's a Penn grad, very good player under Fran Dunphy at Penn. He got let go, put on administrative leave. They kind of were hush about why that was. Sounds like there might have been, I don't, maybe I don't even want to speculate, to be quite honest with you. I'll just say that they were quiet. They really did. Lafayette didn't tell you much about what happened here, but like I said, Lafayette actually sparked a little bit of magic, made a run in their conference tournament. So I think it'll be a solid opponent for Drexel, who is losing some guys and just bringing in Lucas Monroe and bringing guys back. So I think it'll still be a good game, good opponent for Drexel, budget wise, rivalry wise, distance wise. Why don't we just do it every year? Makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, you talk about teams like that, like Bucknell, Lehigh, some of the ones in the Patriot League, like especially for the Colonial and the A10, too. Like it makes a lot of sense for all those teams to play. They're similar enough in skill level. They're near each other. It makes a lot of sense. So I'm glad they're doing this again and continue climbing on up Drexel's most played list. This will be interesting to see. Obviously, you have all the conference opponents, but yeah, good for them. Good for them. Some player news, which we don't get this late in the year usually, at least not a lot of. But the other caveat of this is that it's Penn, and Penn never has player news with people coming in, but there is someone coming in. Former Cal State Northridge forward Johnny Walter will be transferring to Penn this year. 6'9", 210-pound forward. Went to Oaks Christian School in Westlake Village, California. Did a post grad year at the Hotchkiss School in Lakeville, Connecticut. So he's been all over. 25 games last season, averaged a point and about 2 rebounds for Cal State Northridge. I don't know a ton about him, but it's exciting for Penn to get a guy in from the transfer portal. Doesn't happen very often. Obviously, his grades have to be pretty damn good for him to get to an Ivy League school, along with being a good basketball player. So what do you think about this addition to Steve Donahue squad?
Yeah, so I didn't know too much about this guy either, so I would scour on YouTube. And I gotta say, shout out to this guy. I found his highlights on Twitter, and they were posted by him. He was posting his own
How
highlights
about
and
that?
marking himself and getting himself out there. So shout out Johnny Walter for the grind. Was watching his highlights at the Hotchkiss School and then some at Oaks Christian as well. So look, CSUN, if you know anything about him, really, really small team. Really, really small program. Just got a new coach this year, Trent Johnson leaving. And not only did he not play a ton of games, but he didn't play a ton of minutes either. But if you want, and unfortunately did not make a three, but if you watch his high school tape, like he's a lefty, he can stroke it a little bit, at least from what I saw. So we'll give them a stretch player. They just needed a guy with some size anyway. You're losing Max Lorca Lloyd. You're losing Michael Moshkovitz. You're losing a guy like Lucas Monroe who could rebound well. You're gonna need some size in here. Seems like he can stretch the floor a little bit too. So not a there's not a ton of volume to go off here. But if you're looking at the high school tape, guy who can isn't going to blow by you, but if you can get him open, you can get him going downhill a little bit, catch it on the block. He played a lot of post in at CSUN last year, as opposed to I felt like when I was watching him in high school, he was on the perimeter. They were trying to run stuff for him, so it's a bit of a different offense he was in. But yeah, shout out to him for the highlights on Twitter. Else I would have had like a couple synergy clips to go off of. And just want to throw this out there. Probably one of my favorite names in all of college basketball is that CSUN is the Matadors.
That's awesome.
I wanted to say that because I love saying it. The Matadors, a great name. There's too many Wildcats and Bulldogs, not enough Matadors.
Yeah, and listen, we talk a lot about player names. We don't talk a lot about school nicknames. So this is the Matadors is a really good one. I like that one a lot. But yeah, should be a decent addition, excuse me, for Penn. Um, I don't like we said, I don't really know a ton about him, but we'll see how we can fill in off the bench for Steve Donahue's squad. All right, some TBT news now to wrap up this week. Obviously, we talked a lot about it last week with Ramon Galloway and with Rob Holloman. We're gonna switch to the other team first, the Broad Street Birds. They are officially in the tournament, Cope. I had a feeling they would be. It's a pretty talented roster, honestly, of former Temple guys. And ironically, they will be playing the Memphis alumni, which is the Beale Street Boys, in the first round of that. So really exciting. It's going to be played in Wichita, so I guess that favors Memphis a little bit more, but like more neutral site than anything else. I just saw Jordan Hawkins went to the Pelicans. Let's go. I love Jordan Hawkins.
Cam Whitmore's out
Um,
of lottery though.
Cam Whitmore's out of the
Sliders,
lottery, which
slide
is
still going.
a wild development, to be honest.
Hmm.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out exactly why. But and also, I like the Grady Dick to Toronto pick. I was going to mention that too. I really like that
I
pick
don't
for
like
them.
that suit though. I mean, that's probably the worst suit that I've ever seen.
I didn't see the suit. I'm gonna have to see when we get off
Oh,
here.
gee, can you look at it now while we have some time here?
Yeah,
I
let me let
promise you, it's
me.
worth it.
I'll toss to you, and then when I toss to you, I'll look at it.
Okay.
Anywho, yes, battle of two AAC schools here. Some Beale Street boys include Jeremiah Martin, Alex Lomas, Adonis Thomas. Hope I'm happy they're in. They have a tough matchup off the bat. It definitely won't be easy. But what do you like about the Broad Street Birds' chances against the Beale Street boys?
So I actually do like their chances here. Like I thought there would be some, I thought there would be some like a little more higher profile guys. I guess it's still look, it's still a lot of good guys here. Jeremiah Martin played borderline. He was in the G League and I think got some NBA run for a little bit. Lomax, I think it's Lomax. I might have missed, but Alex Lomax. He just got out of school, so he's pretty recent. Adonis
Yeah.
Thomas, I believe, was bouncing around the league a little bit. So yeah, you got some pros in there. One thing I just want to point out when I think of Jeremiah Martin's name, I was in a Temple game in 2018. I think I just found out I got denied from the school at the time, but like I was like, or was I? Yeah, I think I just
2018,
found
you
out.
were either, well, if it was March, if it was like the first part of 2018, you were still in high school. Second part, you were at LaSalle.
Yeah, so yeah, I think I found out though that I wasn't like got denied from the school though. But I still
Yeah.
went to I like my dad had bought tickets, so we went down. They played Tubby Smith's Memphis team. This was the year before Penny Hardaway took over. Really close game. Temple was down. They came back. They forced overtime. They go up in overtime. They blew the lead. And Kareem Bruton, off a deflection, hit like a deep fadeaway three. Nothing but net. I mean, I was sitting kind of like on the corner behind Memphis' bench. It was a picture perfect shot. It was very, very tough. Sticks it. Temple lost 75-72. So whenever I hear Jeremiah Martin's name, I think about that game because I was there and it was just a nuts shot. But I do like their chances here. I think they'll move on. They do have to play the one seed in this region. Who I will look up who it is. I don't think it's after Shocks.
I forget
Um,
who it is.
yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up, but I know this is a 4-5 game. But I do like their chances here. Really
Yeah,
do.
I mean, like I think it's two pretty evenly matched teams. It always is, honestly, when Temple and Memphis go up against each other in the American, so it makes sense that it's going to happen to the in the TBT too. It should be really exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. Before we get to Big Five TBT, I do have to comment on Grady Dick's suit. I did not know that Elton John was going to be drafted tonight because that is what it reminds me of. And that's no offense to Elton John. We love Elton John, one of the goats. His fits work for him. I don't think they work for Grady Dick.
Mhm.
Um, you need to be a rocker to pull that off. Elton John was a rocker. Grady Dick,
Yeah,
baller, not a rocker. There's a difference. Um,
yeah,
but wow, yeah. I mean, listen. I respect him for trying. That's what I always
yeah.
say when people when people try to have these outrageous fits. Most of the time, within reason, I respect them for trying because it takes balls. It takes a lot of
It
uh
does.
it does. Like, listen, it does. But sometimes you don't pull it off, and that's okay too. Um, just like, when we had our award show for our friends, and I wore my suit without the shirt underneath it. It was good luck.
And a
Um,
Party City chain.
and a Party City chain. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a Party City $ chain. I
Well,
got it for
I
about three
mean, you
dollars.
didn't have to try too hard with that when it was just
No, no, no. It's
a
a
gift.
it's an event that you can dress nice and also ridiculous at the same time.
Yeah, that was
But
it's a preposterous fit.
yeah,
Which, by
yeah,
the way,
Grady
second
Dick.
thing, if Broad Street Birds win, they will take on the winner of B1 Ballers and Aftershocks at their
Okay,
own at their own place. So hey, you could have another AAC match.
yeah,
But
definitely
yeah,
can.
just I wanted you to look at that because look, I guess I can give him points for trying. I'm gonna sound like a boomer. I think some of the fashion nowadays is just ridiculous. Like I don't know how you walk out of the house looking like that. Like Harden wears these. Did you see the one time where Kyle Kuzma wore like very
The
pink
big
sweater.
purple thing or pink thing,
Like,
whatever it was.
why would you ever think about like I see some of these fits? I'm like, you spend that much money on it, you look like a highlight, you look like trash. Like I don't understand. So I don't really understand, man. I know I'm gonna sound like a boomer saying that, but I think most of these fits that some guys walk in with are horrible. Are
Yeah, I
horrible.
mean,
You shouldn't spend money on them.
I agree. But some people pull it off. Their
Yeah.
fits really well. They're like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He is the king of fits, I think, in the NBA. That man's got style.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
Not everyone can pull it off. The next pick that was in, by the way, Kobe Buffkin to the Hawks.
All right. All right. And
Him a
apparently,
slide
look,
in.
I'm gonna turn off my woes notifications because he's officially spoiled the first one of the night, which, I'm a
I
big
thought he was
woes
taking the
fan,
night
but
off.
that's a scumbag move to do that. So woes, you're getting turned off for the
Yeah,
night. Um,
Shams got turned off already. He's
apparently, yeah, they're scumbags for that, ruining their moments. Like
yeah,
they're just trying to be the big big
I hate
doing
him.
big J stuff. So whatever. But
Well,
apparently, it
until the
looks
other
like
day.
Jazz are locked in on Keontae George at 16. So it looks like
Okay.
Cam's have to wait.
Yeah. Until the other day, before we move on, until the other day, I had turned Shams off since the NFL draft because he was ruining NFL picks. And
Yeah,
I didn't want him to know who the Jets were taking. So I was like, Shams, come on now. Listen, he's a risk god. We saw what he's doing to Kay Adams, but
yeah,
stop ruining picks, especially in sports that you don't cover.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, Big Five TBT. They got their matchup. They're unfortunately an 8 seed, which I think it's a little low, I think, for them. But they will be taking on the defending champion Blue Collar U out of Buffalo, which ironically is where my parents went to school. So I'm sure my dad, if he realizes what's going on, he might not. He knows about the basketball tournament. I was trying to explain to him when we had Rob and Ramon on the other day, what it was. He didn't seem to remember, but it's been on for, the better part of a decade, I think. Um, he probably doesn't even know that they won last year. I don't know. But you talk about football and regular basketball, and he'll be like, "Oh, UB Bulls, the best athletic and academic institution in the nation." It's always what he says. So shout out, Dad. But anyway, they're playing Big Five TBT. Game will be played in Syracuse, so not too far, but obviously close to Buffalo. Like we said, Blue Collar, you won the $1 million prize last year. Um, they've got a bunch of guys. They obviously were extremely good because they won. What do you think of this matchup for them? It's going to be tough, obviously going up against the defending champions. They're going up to Western New York to play this game. But this team's talented too for Big Five, so it should be interesting. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they Big Five won a game last year. They didn't just skip outs first round. They won a game, and with all that got all the stuff going on at Rucker Park, they got forced inside, still ended up winning. So yeah, I looked at that. I was like, okay, you're giving them the defending champs right away. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but regardless, uh, still a good team. Still a really good team. I mean, you think about that team that they had a run. They were a 6 seed. The Buffalo Bulls at one point with Nate Oates last year. This team was a 6 seed in the NCAA tournament. You look at the guys they have from that team: C.J. Massenberg, Jeremy Harris, Wes Clark, Dante Carruthers, Devontae Jordan, Montel McRae, all on that team that upset Arizona. That was the year before. They smashed Arizona, which is funny because they played Bobby Hurley, so it was Nate Oates and like two
Yeah, former
former
school.
Buffalo coach, and they smashed them. They smashed Arizona State, and then unfortunately they got beat by Texas Tech, who ended up making the national championship. But those are some really good teams. And then a couple years prior, they lost to Miami. They were a 14 seed, and they had Blake Hamilton and Lamonte Bearden, who was a really good player on that team. And they still had, and I didn't even mention Nick Perkins was on that team as well. So a lot of former guys that had success in the tournament. C.J. Massenberg, I think, bounced. I know he played with the Nets in summer league one year. I was out there, but this is a good team, man. This is hey,
Yes.
you want to challenge Big Five, you got one because they didn't win for nothing, and this is a good group of players that's been playing with each other for a while. So I know, like at times um, you'll have teams that it's like maybe the first 5 or 6 are like from a school, and they just bring some guys they know. It's pretty much all Buffalo dudes that have been
Buffalo
playing with
guys.
each other for a while. So really, really good squad here. Their GM, by the way, interested in little tidbit, Brian Hodgson. He was an assistant at Buffalo and Alabama for Nate Oates, just like the head coaching job at Arkansas State. Pretty cool little tidbit there. But this is look, they got their hands full, Big Five. I think it'll be a really good game, but they've been playing with each other for a while. It's no joke. They won last year. You got shooting. Massenberg can shoot. Jeremy Harris is a great shooter. There's some defense, some quickness with Clark Carruthers, Devontae Jordan, even with Lamonte Beard and Blake Hamilton, some guys that can shoot and can score. So we're gonna have to. Hey, Ramon said was our secret is we're gonna play defense. We're gonna, we want to make it a close game, but so it's not like when the target score gets announced, we don't have to go on like a 20-8 run to end the game. Well, you better bring your hard hat, your lunch pail, and play defense because this team's going to be able to score. So I think that's where the game is here. Offensive blue collar U, defensive Big Five. The better side will prevail for sure. A very very tough game, but a good one at that will be a great watch for sure.
Yeah, and it will not be easy for them, but team's constructed well. I believe in Rob. I believe in everything he's done so far, and we'll see what happens. It should be a really, really good one. Definitely not an easy one. Obviously, defending champs, talented team. They've been playing together, like you said, but it'll be fun. Really excited for that. I believe that's July 24th is when this kicks off.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. So we're about a
So
month
coming up,
away. We're
they
about a month away, but
play
it is coming up.
it's the 20th to the 25th is like
Okay.
no, that's Broad Street Birds, but I'm sure they're about the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Their 24th to 28th is their little pod.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be, it'll be tough, but definitely something that they can do. I think for sure. Which brings us to the end of our episode here. Cope, any final thoughts before we sign off?
Yeah, we'll have some good stuff coming for you next week. We're gonna have Tommy Godin on, very active on Villanova Twitter Spaces. He just started a new gig. We'll talk to him about that, and hopefully we can get Riley Frayne on here from the Poor Report. So as we get to the dog days of the summers, we're in. I believe yesterday was the longest day of the year, the summer solstice.
Yes.
So we're right in the middle of the middle of summer here. Uh, we're gonna try and get some guests on, mix it up a little bit. So hopefully we can get two guys on for you next week and continue that throughout the summer.
Yeah, looking at a double feature next week. So really excited about that. And like Cope said, we are gonna have some more guests on here in the dog days. Obviously we don't know all of them yet, but we definitely have some stuff that we're working on. So we will keep you updated on that. For me, I mean, hell of a game from the Union on Wednesday night. Coming back from down 2-0 in Orlando. That Jose Martinez goal was probably one of the more exciting things I've seen at a sporting event in my life, and I've been to a lot. That was something else, and I was there for it. On the radio call. I wasn't on the radio call, producer. But Dave Leno had an insane call on that, and we were just kind of all like in the booth. So yeah, shout out to the Union for that. The Mets stink. We don't need to talk about them.
Oh, they're coming to Philadelphia though.
They are coming to Philadelphia this weekend.
Yeah.
Might be going to Sunday. Still to be determined. Which I think this is me first time telling you this, but we should go Sunday. We'll see. We'll talk about it. But yeah, hopefully listen, June started with a sweep of the Phillies for the Mets. It's gone downhill since. Hopefully we can have a sweep of the Phillies or at least 2 out of 3 to turn it around. I have my doubts, but we will
I
see.
told you the swoon was coming. Believe this month they are 6-13.
Something like that.
Something like that. I told you it was coming. No, it's okay.
It's
You don't
arguably
have to
the
give
worst
me.
month of the Steve Cohen era since this and August of 21 when we were in Vegas actually, and they had to play back-to-back series against the 100-win Giants and 100-win Dodgers, and they got swept in both, I think, or maybe they won 1 or 2 games, but yeah, not good, not good. But
Swoon.
the
Told you it was
swoon.
coming.
But you know what? The Clown Ballers of Heyday Athletic won today, 20-9. I had a dinger. There's been worse things. So, yeah, and as we're wrapping up, Cam Whitmore's still on the board. The Lakers are picking right
Yeah,
now.
geez. I didn't think you'd be glad we would be here.
No, I didn't either. So maybe we'll get off here and the Lakers will take him. You got some good teams coming up: Heat, Warriors, Rockets have another pick. I could definitely see that if he falls to 20.
I mean, the Lakers are on the clock right now. Like
Yeah,
they
they could
think
use it.
that a potential top 10 talent would still be here.
No, but yeah, that's all we got. Pretty much. Well, not pretty much. This is it. But thank you all for tuning in as always. Make sure you like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Five Pod. And of course, make sure you listen to our audio only versions on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Very excited for next week. We have a hell of an episode coming your way. So until then, we will see you.